It was just past midnight when the first knock echoed. Through the quiet suburban street. 3 sharp. Deliberate raps at the front door of Malik Johnson's house sent a jolt through him. He had been half asleep on the couch, watching the muted glow of a late-night news channel, when instinct pulled him upright. "Who's there?" Malik's voice was calm but firm. "Neighborhood enforcement." "HOA Police." "Open the door immediately." Malik frowned. "HOA Police?" The phrase almost made him laugh. There was no such thing. Homeowners associations didn't have police. At best, they sent letters complaining about trash bins or lawn care, yet the voices outside had authority. They weren't joking. Malik's instincts went into overdrive. He wasn't just another man living in suburbia. He was one of the FBI's most feared field agents, known in secret circles as the Hammer. Years in the field had taught him that imposters didn't need full badges or uniforms to manipulate people. Confidence and timing were enough. He slid off the couch quietly and approached the window, just enough to see the figures outside. 2 men in dark uniforms stood near his driveway, badges glinting in the porch light. A third waited by a black SUV, its windows heavily tinted. All 3 were professional, but amateurs in the details. The patches were off, the belts too loose, the walk too practiced. Malik didn't hesitate. He moved to the hall closet and unzipped a small black case. Inside lay his Glock and a small leather wallet embossed with gold letters. Federal Bureau of Investigation. He holstered the weapon smoothly and slipped the wallet into his pocket. The knocking grew louder. "Last warning, sir." "Step outside!" Malik opened the door just a crack. "You boys picked the wrong house." For a brief moment, the imposters froze. Their confidence wavered under the calm, but commanding presence of someone who knew exactly what they were. Then one of them made a move for the door, attempting to force it open. Malik's reflexes were instantaneous. He opened the door fully, weapon leveled. "Federal law makes impersonating law enforcement a crime," he said, his voice calm but ice-cold. The man with the clipboard sneered. But the sneer faded when Malik raised his badge. "FBI, step back or you're going to regret it." Chaos erupted. The imposters scrambled, one drawing a small pistol. Malik reacted faster, disarming him and pinning him against the porch. Another lunged toward the SUV, but Malik's precise shot clipped the tire. The vehicle screeched but didn't escape. The first imposter's eyes widened as Malik's calm, measured presence filled the night. He wasn't just defending himself, he was calculating. Every angle, every movement, every reaction had been anticipated. "You know who I am?" Malik asked quietly. The man coughed, blood at his lip. We were sent." "You already know." Malik's jaw tightened. That confirmed it. Someone had been tracking him, testing him, probing for weakness. Whoever had sent these men knew his name and knew enough to try intimidation first. By the time backup arrived, the SUV had vanished into the night. The imposters were secured and taken into custody. Malik surveyed the street silent, calm, but inwardly tense. This was only the beginning. Morning broke with deceptive calm. The sun lit up trimmed lawns. Sprinklers hissed across the street, and delivery trucks rumbled by. From the outside, nothing had happened. Inside, Malik analyzed every detail. The men weren't amateurs. Their timing, coordination, even their quick retreat pointed to training. He pulled out a leather-bound notebook, filled with names, rumors, and fragments of intelligence from years in the field. One name, circled in red, leapt off the page: Victor Kane. Kane had been a ghost. Former CIA turned rogue mercenary. Brilliant, ruthless, and entirely unpredictable. He specialized in psychological warfare, making his targets doubt themselves before striking. If Kane was behind this, it wasn't just intimidation. It was a message. By mid-morning, 2 unmarked FBI vehicles slid quietly into Malik's driveway. Agents in plain clothes set up laptops, signal scanners, and encrypted communication devices. "Random intimidation?" one agent asked, sipping stale coffee. Malik shook his head. "They knew my name. This was deliberate, professional." The agents nodded grimly. They weren't worried about his safety. They were analyzing the message. Kane didn't just send people. He orchestrated theater, making every move meaningful. Later that evening, surveillance was in place. Hidden cameras, drones, and agents disguised as joggers looped the neighborhood. Malik himself sat calmly on the porch, coffee in hand. a calm mask over the storm of thoughts inside. At 9:13 p.m., headlights moved slowly down the street. A black SUV, different from the last, prowled like a predator. Malik's earpiece buzzed, eyes on. 3 targets moving in. The imposters approached, dressed like last time, but armed and more aggressive. One carried a crowbar, another a heavy case. They called out in fake authority, "Mr. Johnson, you are in violation of neighborhood. Code 11B. Step outside for inspection." Malik set down his cup. "You boys really don't learn," he said, pulling out his badge. "FBI, you're surrounded. Drop your gear." For a split second, they froze. Then bullets cracked the night. The man with the SMG fired, the crowbar swung wildly. Malik dove behind the porch pillar, returned fire with precision. Hidden snipers and agents joined, taking down the attackers one by one. The leader, the same man who had smirked at him last night, attempted escape. Malik cut him off, pinned him, and pressed his weapon to the man's temple. "Who sent you?" Malik demanded. A cruel smile. "Kane." Malik's chest tightened. Confirmation. The fake. HOA Police weren't the real threat. They were a warning. Kane had returned. By dawn, the imposters were in custody. Malik stood on the porch, surveying the quiet neighborhood. Somewhere out there, Kane was watching, planning. And Malik knew one truth. The fight had only begun. The morning after the standoff, Malik's house hummed with quiet tension. Surveillance footage, analysis boards, and encrypted comms filled his dining room. The imposters were in custody, but the real target remained out there, Victor Kane. Kane was more than a rogue agent. He was a ghost, slipping through cracks in every intelligence agency, leaving destruction in his wake. Malik studied the patterns, cross-referencing banking records, stolen vehicles, and burner phones. Every lead led back to one hub, a derelict warehouse on the outskirts of Baltimore. "Director, if Kane is there, he'll expect a raid." "Could be a trap," one of the agents warned. Malik didn't flinch. "Then we'll make it our trap." By evening, Malik had transformed his calm suburban home into a tactical command center. Drones hovered overhead, hidden cameras monitored every angle, and his team of elite agents prepared for the strike. Outside, the neighborhood looked serene, but inside, every heartbeat of the operation pulsed with anticipation. At 11 p.m., Malik led the convoy into Baltimore. The warehouse loomed like a skeleton, cranes stretching against the night sky. He signaled his team to fan out, moving silently among crates and metal beams. Every shadow could conceal a mercenary. Every sound could be a warning. Inside, Kane's men patrolled with military precision. The fake HOA uniforms were gone, replaced by black tactical gear and suppressed weapons. Malik's team moved like shadows, silenced shots dropping guards one by one. Each move choreographed but fluid, precise. Finally, Malik reached the central chamber. And there he was, Victor Kane, silver-haired, calm, almost regal, with a pistol in one hand and a combat knife strapped to his chest. His eyes locked on Malik, amusement flickering in his gaze. "Johnson," Kane said smoothly. "The hammer himself. I wondered how long it would take you to find me." "You should have stayed buried," Malik replied coldly. Kane laughed softly. "And let you keep pretending you're untouchable?" "No. The world has forgotten fear. I'm here to remind them." Suddenly, floodlights snapped on. Dozens of Kane's mercenaries emerged, rifles raised. Malik's team ducked, returning fire with calculated precision. The warehouse erupted in chaos, bullets ricocheted, sparks flew, and the air smelled of smoke and oil. Malik moved like a predator. Each shot he fired dropped another mercenary. But Kane didn't hide. He advanced through the chaos, slicing, striking, and disarming with deadly accuracy. At last they met in the open. Kane swung first, pistol whipping Malik across the face. Malik blocked, countered, and forced Kane back into a steel beam. Their combat was brutal, each punch a battle of skill, strength, and resolve. "You should have stayed out of my city," Malik growled. Kane's laugh echoed in the warehouse. "You think this ends with me?" "I'm just the beginning." Malik pressed his pistol to Kane's chest. Kane didn't flinch. "Then let's end the beginning," Malik said, firing. Kane staggered, then collapsed, lifeless. The remaining mercenaries surrendered quickly, realizing their leader was gone. Malik's team swept the warehouse, securing weapons and prisoners. The battle was over. Kane, the ghost who had eluded every agency, was finally down. By dawn, Malik returned to his suburban street. Sprinklers hissed, birds sang, and the world looked normal once more. He stepped onto his porch, watching the sunrise reflect off neatly trimmed lawns. To his neighbors, nothing had changed. But Malik knew better. Danger never truly vanished. There would always be another Kane, another shadow lurking somewhere. Yet he smiled faintly. If danger ever knocked again, it wouldn't find an easy target. It would find the hammer. The impostors at his door, the mercenaries in the warehouse, and the ghost of Kane had tested him, pushed him, and tried to intimidate him. And through it all, he had survived. Malik reached for his coffee, taking a slow sip. Today, the street was quiet. But tomorrow, he would be ready. Always vigilant, always prepared.